I'm Professor Indra Abeysekera. One of the learning goals in this workshop is for us to understand what is meant by business combination. When the acquirer invests in an acquired entity, in acquiring its shares, for example, a stock, you can acquire less than 20%, or between 20% and 50%, or exactly 50%, or greater than 50%. And how this investment is treated in accounting also differs. If it is less than 20%, it's called an investment. If it is between 20 and 50%, acquired entity is called associate. If it is exactly 50%, acquired entity is called joint venture. And if it is greater than 50%, the acquired entity is called subsidiary. And the accounting technique that is used to measure these investments also differ. A direct investment is measured as cost and later at fair value or the market value. Acquirer measures an investment in associate using equity accounting technique. An acquirer measures investment in the joint venture using joint venture accounting. An acquirer measures investment in a subsidiary using consolidation. So this is about ownership. Let's look at business combination with that background. What we mean by a business combination is a transaction or event in which the acquirer obtains control over one or more businesses. So for example, A Limited acquires control over B Limited by acquiring its shares. In this example, it gives cash to B Limited shareholders and acquire the shares, and A Limited shareholders become shareholders of B Limited. But the question is that acquisition equals to control? Not necessarily. For example, acquirer can acquire less than 50% ownership and still have control by having a contract with the acquired entity, or because the voting power that is given by less than 50% is good enough because the other shareholders are mums and dads having fewer parcels of shares. But the concept of control is determined using a criterion. It looks at three aspects. One is there power for these shareholders? Power arises from rights. So, for the acquirer, does the acquirer has the capacity to exercise power, having voting rights? Doesn't need to exercise the power, has the capacity to exercise power. And second is, can the acquirer change the financial report of the acquired entity? Has the capacity to do that using those rights. And thirdly, is the investor or the acquirer has using the power affect the amount of the returns? Can the acquirer has power to change the financial returns of the acquired entity. If so, then we conclude that the acquirer has power, has control over the acquiree. What it means is that the acquirer can make decisions about the operating aspects, operational aspects, day-to-day operations, and also the financial aspects, that is how the acquired entity is financed, raising finances. It has. So if there's control, then we call acquirer a parent entity. In this, company A is the parent. Company B is the acquired, we call subsidiary. They are separate legal entities. And if there's control, accounting requires to prepare a third statement of financial report called group financial report or consolidated financial report for the combined entity. This combined entity is called the economic entity or the group. But for our purposes, we take ownership as a guide for the control in most cases, unless told otherwise. So greater than 50% ownership by acquirer in acquired, we take it as a control situation where there's a parent and subsidiary access, and group financial statement should be prepared. Acquirer or the parent can control a subsidiary directly or indirectly. So here's A is controlling B and B is controlling C. A is not directly controlling C. It does not have a direct investment, but it is indirectly controlling C. So in this situation, company A, when company A prepares its financial report, it must prepare its own financial report, and then it also must prepare a combined financial report putting together A, B and C entities, because they are under control of A. So when we combine the financial statements of parent and the subsidiary, what we do is we put them together, we add them together. But there's a caveat. There can be transactions between the two entities. Because we are considering them as a combined entity, we must eliminate those transactions in that combination. That combination is called consolidation. We must eliminate those transactions because the combined entity cannot have transactions within themselves, and that is a requirement. When we consolidate or putting them together, there are various ways of doing. There are three ways of doing. One is called the parent concept of consolidating, other one is called the proprietary concept of consolidating, and the third is called the entity concept. In the parent concept, we treat any interest like this. There are outside shareholders here. So this is not the parent. Parent owns 20%. There are outside shareholders. When we combine, these shareholders also become part of that combined entity. We treat that as a liability under the parent concept. Under the proprietary concept, we completely disregard them. Under the entity concept, we treat this as part of shareholders' equity, as a non-controlling interest equity. In accounting, we adopt the entity concept of consolidation. That means we treat non-controlling interests outside shareholders as part of the combined entities equity. Parent equity, along with that, as non-controlling interest equity.